Mackay University, but I'm also chairperson of Busoga Forum. We have a couple of key members present today. I apologize that I actually lost my voice and my nose is blocked. So moderation might be very difficult for me. But I'll introduce the topic and then invite each of these panelists to just reflect on teenage pregnancy in Busoga, because they already work on teenage pregnancy issues. So they'll be introducing themselves and then also say, where is the problem? What can we do? As you know, during the royal wedding, the chairman of the royal wedding committed that within the first 100 days of after the wedding, something impactful should be done on ending teenage pregnancy in Busoga. They also talked about tree planting, and I saw there's an initiative launched, I think, today to plant. I had some 30 million trees. At least they promised 3 million. And if they can do that well and do good, if it's 3, it is a good beginning. And then there was also making the parish development committee effective. So today, without PowerPoints, just speaking from the heart, wanted people to talk on trying to understand what is the problem with teenage pregnancy in Busoga. As you might know, in Uganda in general, two of every 5 pregnant women is a teenager. But the actual numbers are highest in Busoga, although the rate is not highest in the highest in Busoga. So Busoga has a problem that many kids start school and they drop out. And our panelists today, we have a team. One is Dr. Ando Bajeku, whom you all know is a public health consultant and the minister in charge of health. But also have a working one, Joyce Abalwano, who is the state minister of gender, women and children affairs. So Kingdom, she's been doing a lot, going to schools, doing the Chigango. We also have Ambassador Agnes Kalibala. She heads a number of things, head of the Busoga Education Initiative. She's the former director of Housing Ministry of Lands, and she's involved in many issues, including pregnancy. We also have Miss Daphne Nayebale, who comes all the way from the West, but she started an organization in Bugembe where she's helping girls stop teenage pregnancy, but also for them to get back to school. And I'm very proud of what she does. She's a nurse by training and a tutor at, I think, the International Health Sciences Institute. Finally, we have Mukalu Mohammed Makuza, who is a program director at Communities for Children International. But also, she's the deputy health minister, Chigulu Chiefdom. He also runs an NGO and he does a lot of things to do with empowering teenagers and younger people in Busoga. So without further ado, I wanted to invite these to start the debate, and we will also like even the people who may be listening in to come with ideas. This is something which is not started today. It's been going on. We have here Mr. Simon Mugode. He's drafting a strategic plan with others, with Mr. Dr. Kalim, for Busoga Forum, with a focus on children and younger people. So they will be listening in and taking notes. So maybe if Dr. Valioku is here, he can start and talk about this issue. Then we can get to another panelist. But I don't see Dr. Valioku yet. So I might actually start now with...
He's around, it's on.
Okay, Dr. Valioku, if you can start the moderation, and but also make your comments on what is going on, what are the plans, what can we do, how can we meet the goal of the Kyabazinga and Inevantu. And now that we have Inevantu, the mother of Busoga, more so the mother of the girls of Busoga and younger people, and with the commitment they have, what are we doing? What can we do better? Then you invite the other panelists. I've introduced them. They can add introductions later as they speak. But over to you, Dr. Valioku. And my participation is going to be limited because of my voice problems, but I'll listen in. Over to you, Dr. Valioku. And if for some reason you go, Dr. Mukembo has agreed to support you in facilitation. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Valioku. Dr. Valioku, could you unmute?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much, panelist members. I think my duty is to first say what is going on. I think for the past 5 years, we made the resolution, at least through the cultural institution, to tackle teenage pregnancy as one of the 4 critical things in Busoga. And there have been very many efforts on many fronts to understand why Busoga has this very high prevalence of teenage pregnancy. Studies, I think, had been done even before. We had the UNFPA almost 8 or so years ago, through Makerere. They carried out a study to see root causes and cultural drivers. So there's quite a lot of information, really. We've been asking what is the cause, but I think that is not much of the issue. The issue is what can we do? And I think in a very short time, I think I have about 4 or 5 minutes. I could just say what I think is the main issue in Busoga, why we're not getting to where we want to. And that is simply because of the coordination of all the efforts. We have small efforts, several NGOs running, working on this area. And I think we've also mobilized adequately the kingdom structures. We've had several discussions with the youth groups, with the Bambeja, including the herbalists around this issue. And all of them know it is a problem. They appreciate the problem. But the main thing is, what exactly do we do to impact? There are several gaps. Teenage pregnancy is a crime. That is the first thing. It is criminal. And it cannot, once it is a crime, we cannot, once we know it has happened, we're supposed to report it. That was the first discussion we had. And what happened is the police said, even when they get the people, they are protected. So teenage pregnancy seems to be like normalized in the communities. And our effort should be towards ensuring that it is in Ebola. Communities start looking at any person who is impregnating a young girl. Bully. This person should feel shame. They should not be protected by the other men. And to do this, we need to just find a way of getting all these efforts that are going on in the community. There are very many efforts. We need to get them together and we move in the same direction together. And I'm sure once we do that, we will be able to tackle this problem effectively. We're not going to think of a new magic bullet, no. Well, we could, but my point is, let us see how we can galvanize all the efforts we have in Busoga. There are quite many. There are very, very many. Some people have made walks, some small fundraisings. We've had songs. We have radio talk shows. We've had, I think through UNICEF, they've also moved on to use their social platform, but we still have this problem going on. When we look at it, it is not that teenage pregnancy is not decreasing. It is actually decreasing in Busoga, but it is decreasing at a very, very slow pace. And we just have to see how we accelerate it. So in this discussion, I really hope that we can find ways mainly of galvanizing the various efforts that are going on, that have been going on, bring together the actors, and we work sort of in one strategic direction concertedly. And I think with that, I could allow you go ahead and talk about the experiences you've had and probably what other options we have that could accelerate this reduction of teenage pregnancy in the region. I think that could be my quick opening for this meeting. Kyabazinga kuvaira kyogera ekya teenage pregnancy. It wasn't just on the wedding. We've been talking about it all throughout. And Joyce will tell you much of one of the things they talk about in Chigangu is teenage pregnancy as a problem. It is a societal problem in the region. It is accepted by the old people, and that is why it is continuing. So over to you, Moderator Jamaiso. Hello.
Hello. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Barieku, for that submission. And we are happy that you're here and giving us those insights. I think now we can hear from the next presenter, who is Dr. Joyce Abaliwano, to give us her submission. Dr. Joyce. Okay, as we wait for Dr. Joyce to get back, I think I could move to hear from Ambassador Agnes Kalibala.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, and good evening, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this debate, because this is one of the things that we have been grappling with in a Busoga Education Initiative. In the Busoga Education Initiative, we have realized that in the rural areas where we work with those poor schools, children start school P1, but by the time they reach P5, they drop out and go either to get married, or they are pregnant and they sit at home. And we realize that one of the biggest things that contribute to this are the parents. The parents really push their children to go and have sex at a tender age, mainly because they are poor and they want them to come home with something to contribute to the food at home. And at the end of the day, the girls end up getting pregnant. We've tried as much as possible to talk to the parents, to sensitize them, like Dr. Barieku said, through radio talks, through sensitization meetings, through working with the leaders and the local leaders, that after 2-3 years, we saw it went back again. So now we keep wondering what is it that we have to do. But like Mr. Dr. Barieku has said, I think it is because we are so many groups working on this thing, but we don't. And given that now we have Inebantu, and I'm sure it will be one of her passion to see that she sees girls going back to school. I think we should consolidate all our efforts and we see how we can put it together, and we let her be the patron to lead us. Last year, or I think it is this year, UNFPA initiated a program with the Kyabazinga office. I don't know how far they went when they were discussing it. I don't know what is happening. We could use that chance, given and work through them to coordinate, do our small bits here and there, but then have them put in the funds if they can show big. So that we have proper coordination of our efforts. We could have a program in Busoga, we give it stopping teenage pregnancy in Busoga or whatever name, but work together, because the way we are working now, I know we are all putting in efforts, but the impact is not being felt. Because when you go back, you still find so many children. Whenever I go to visit these schools under Busoga Education Initiative, even those I left thinking that they will reach P7, I find half of them have already gotten pregnant. So that means our impact is not really being felt so much. And like also get education initiative, and any other organization that is dealing with it, of a well-coordinated program, we shall make impact. I beg to stop there.
Yes, this is what I'm picking here. Consolidation of efforts is really coming up from both presentations, and I think it is something key that all of us who are here should start looking at. I'm seeing we are having very many partners on call graduate. I'll be identifying them. This is what we have to do. Right now, let me get back to Dr. Joyce. Dr. Joyce, you were to come before Ambassador, but now you're here. You could give us your submission.
Thank you very much, moderator. Good evening, panelists. I would like to thank the Busoga Health Forum for this talk. We became ministers in I think it was 2016, and I remember the first speech that the Kyabazinga gave in that coronation had something to do with teenage pregnancy and ending teenage pregnancy in Busoga. All along, we have been trying to do a number of efforts under the Ministry of Health, under the Ministry of Gender, under the Ministry of Youth, to try and see that this problem reduces. But midway, COVID came in, the schools were closed, and the problem became bigger than it had originally been. And right now, we are still sort of in a hangover of the COVID issue, because many of our children had to support families. And because they had to support families, they either had to trek long journeys selling pancakes and selling all sorts of things. Others had to openly go into different affairs with different men so that then they can be able to support the family and all sorts of things. COVID brought both the good and the bad in many of us. And during this time, we also saw the role of the family really going down when it comes to upbringing of children. Just like Dr. Walieko said, teenage pregnancy is actually a crime, and it should be treated as so. It should actually be called defilement and rape, because unless we use the hard words, then people will think that, it is okay. But coming from the different community activities that we have done through Chigangu, either as community dialogues, as in dialogues with leaders, you find that we, the educated, feel that teenage pregnancy is a problem, but the people in the community don't really feel that teenage pregnancy is a problem, because to them, it is just about a child getting pregnant. After all, it's going to give me a grandchild. You find really few homes that will really be so concerned when one of their children does what? Gets pregnant. So even before we think about how to reduce it, we have to change the mindsets of our people in the community about this issue of teenage pregnancy. Because as long as they don't see it as a problem, however many interventions we come up with, it will always exist. The other thing is we need to strengthen the role of the family. We need to have family-based interventions when it comes to the issue of teenage pregnancy. Because if we say we only empower the girl child will be too empowered for the boy child. If we empower the boy child, he will be too empowered for the girl child. So we need to have interventions that take up the whole family. Because if the family knows their roles and responsibility, then it means that if one child becomes pregnant, it means that they are all to blame, and they will understand that there is a failing that has caused this problem to happen. So we need to have interventions that involve the whole family unit, and we need to strengthen the family unit. We all know, even for us who are working, you know that the time we spend with our children is very little. In fact, now the option is that you take the child to boarding school, and they're there the biggest part of the time. But we as parents, when the children come, this is now a long holiday. The mother is busy, the father is busy. And we don't have those talks that we used to have, with our children on different topics. So you find that sort of the children are growing up on TV, they are growing up with maids, and as a result, what the maid imparts in the child is what the child will take. And we have seen many homes where maids have actually been the ones to push some of our children in some of these acts. Or what they're seeing on TV is forcing them to practice some of these because they're seeing it on TV, so it is okay for a sister and a brother to practice, or it is okay for a houseboy and a daughter to do something like that. So the issue of teenage pregnancy has been one of the commitments that the Kyabazinga has had from the time from 2014, when we got the Kyabazinga. And all the efforts that we are doing in the different ministries is to see how we reduce this. Now that we have the Unibantu, we feel that we need to do more. Let's consolidate all the efforts together under one umbrella. Let's have a proper recording system or documentation system, so that then we are able to track the different situations or the different scenarios that are surrounding teenage pregnancy. But for me, my take home from this is we need to strengthen the family unit. And we also need to, yes, we need to strengthen the family unit, because I feel like teenage pregnancy in a home means there is a breakdown in the family unit or in communication or something in the family. That's why we have that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joyce, for that your insight that you've given us, and for spearheading the Qigong for the past years that you've been doing it. From your point, I pick that we should really strengthen a family unit and do family-based interventions. I have always a question that always comes to my mind when we talk about teenage pregnancy. And before you get very far, I would request that you come and give some light about this. We're looking at solutions and ways that we can tackle this. Maybe other panelists can also give light on it. In the past days, didn't we have how was it done that ladies and men or boys didn't indulge themselves in early sex? Because why teenage pregnancy is here is that these teenagers are getting exposed to sex early. Could it be any intervention that can be done to reduce early exposure to sex? Or the other thing is, if children are getting so much exposed to having sex at an age, what is causing this, and what is not being done that was done before? Maybe that could be responded to as ways that we can curb this. If you want to revert, that's okay. But if you want to continue, I would request to go to the food soldiers. I would request to have Mr. Mukal Mohammed to come and give us his talk.
Okay. Thank you so much, moderator. Hope I'm loud and clear. Apologies, I have malaria been down, so my voice I may keep coughing. Mukal Mohammed is my name, which Tiwa from Isazalia Baba Chuguru. I'm so happy to be part of this discussion. I want to sing a song which goes, Bon kulelero mwana chirito mwana chiriva joli. That song literally means, I help you to carry the baby, but what will kill the baby to come from you. To me, I believe if I asked everyone who is here to tell me what is teenage pregnancy in Busoga, we may even fail to have it directly, or we may have different ways. So I think we need to find this as an opportunity, being like we have our mother now, to find a way of localizing this problem and define it so well, so that everyone, even a border guy, even someone who works in the market, feels the problem and knows what to do with that problem. To me, I feel the problem is still an English problem in the minds of people, and they don't know. So I find even people in meetings where funders have come to talk about strategies on how to do this, but when they have invited other people who are not responsible to do the things because there is an allowance. To me, I think the kingdom and Busoga at large need to retreat and synergize and define this problem and tell everyone this is the part you can do. How can you do it? And they define what they want to do. Then we create a mechanism of tracking what everyone is doing and what's the way we are moving. I believe everyone can do something and we can help. When I was doing my master's, I evaluated a project that was giving girls reusable pads. That was WUDA. And when I was in a school talking to girls, either they are using pads, a girl told me, I did not use my pads because I was told they are poor solution. It is cheap. And the boy told me this. So I decided also to talk to boys. And boys were laughing and they were happy. But when we sat and discussed and brought this in a perspective of being their sisters, being their friends, and if they would be happy to graduate with them, I felt like these boys came up with intervention and they committed to volunteer to be advocate of girls not to be bullied when they're in their periods. So, sorry, I find it that there is a lot there, but in English, and the problem is, I'll say it's a bit of NGO work. So the community gets active because the NGO is drumming it. It has ceased to be a community problem. So I think the biggest start note that we need to embark on as we build a strategy for Busoga is redefining the problem into Busoga, get people commit, but the lowest person as a border person on what they can do, then dress strategy on how to track the success and the work they are going to do, and then we keep modifying on that model. The other commitment I will want to ask the kingdom and the mentors that are on the call is to find a local way of putting resources that will help to get projects that will create income out of this problem, maybe per se. For example, teenage mothers can go back to school, they can have their babies, they can become entrepreneurs, they can be huge, important citizens in Busoga. So we need a huge funding to create projects that create products, market, so that these people are doing something productive. Because once you deliver, you can normalize life. In 256, we have what we call the Teenage Mothers Garage. On this garage, we have carpentry, we do a lot of things, and girls have done a lot of things. And we have tremendously seen a lot of change with these girls in terms of personal esteem raised again. They can talk, they have been given responsibility, they are leaders in the organization, and their relationship have improved in their relationship where they are. So to me, again, it is a good point that we are talking about it, but we need to find the bakakensa in Busoga and in programming, basing, for example, the clan heads, the bakunganya. We need to have an intervention that comes there. The health ministers, the youth ministers, so that the entire kingdom is moving in a direction which is defined by the definition of Busoga with teenage man and pregnancy. I want to end here, but thank you so much. That is my submission.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Rotarian Mukaru. Just you're speaking what you just adding on what Dr. Wariok said we go down to these local structures, and also there's ritual structures, but also to all around travel. And maybe if I go to Daphne, let me have some two responses, but then we have Daphne coming. Dr. Herbert Kadama, your hand is up. Have some few minutes.
Yes, I would like to thank the presenters, but mine are both comments and questions. One, does the data from UDHS show that teenager pregnancy is increasing or not? Two, has teenage pregnancy been a problem of Busoga as a society or not? And one had always said that, do we have even a term for teenage pregnancy? I think here we need to refocus. There was the community long time ago, you used it to demonize, if that's the right word, a girl who gets pregnant while still with what? The parents home, irrespective of the age bracket. And I think society up to now feels that when a girl gets pregnant, but is not getting pregnant at the caretaker or the parents' home, but is married off early enough, that is not a problem. I think we have to get to the root cause while addressing this issue about teenage pregnancy. That's why you find that in those days, girls who are at school, they were making sure that since they would stay with their parents, that's where the iron is at home. But the counterpart who is not at school, even if he's married off at 13, is not demonized by what? By the society. I think we should start by a mindset of our culture norms and society. I think that's.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Herbert. He's asking us to go back to the norms, kunono, and omuwala we yafunanga olubuto ng'akaali waka, that would be something not good. I request I have James Chintu, then I get to Daphne, then we can always come back. James.
Thank you so much, moderator. Once again, James Kintu is my name. I've listened to all the people who have presented, and I can see we have a very big problem. But I think some of the questions I was putting down as the presenters were presenting, one is the governance structure we have. From the very top, from Baba Kyabazinga, Niba Minister Baife for the different things. Bwetutuuka wagati wansi awo, tulumuka mangu twayira kuba ku lubaabika, twalumuka twatuuka ne kuba bakuŋŋaanya and the like. And I don't seem to see this type of a structure gyenja okusuggestinga tugikozesa in this way. Singa Baba Kyabazinga alina abakulembeze paka ku miruka paka ne ku kyalo. Then wetumala nituba n'abakulembeze abo, given that we have the central government structure etuwa bulungi amateeka agasobola okugemesa omukono ogw'ekyuma abantu abali ku ebisobi, because in my own view abali kusinga ku perpetuatinga muze guno n'abantu abo abavuga bodaboda, n'abantu abo batoba naibwe abatema ku bikaado ne bafunayo ku busente ng'ate bala abaana baavu. Nze kati families z'eddindi ziri single, parent led, tugamba nga oluisi mukyala n'ali kulabirira abaana baamulekwa and the like, nti bona baatendewalirwa, going into those things, mbwe abaana babatume bafuneyo akasente kaide kabayambe, ending up ni whatever ne teenage marriages. Aye singa tulina bano abakulembeze paka ku kyalo, era abakulembeze abo nga bayida ku feedinga back paka waigulu ku kingdom, kino ni kye twali bayire tusobola okola. That while we leverage a few well-wishers ababa mu byalo ebyo, for example, nze yenvwe waife Luuka Bukanga, tuliyo ne association, it is a civil society organization, aye aba doctors n'abakozi babeeyo mu bibuga ebindi ebyo bakolera. We came together and we were going to schools, school by school, with our resources. Abaana okubalaga value y'okusoma n'omalaku. Then too, we were going with our wives, bona betwa maringo okuva eno mu bibuga yetuba, and they are from other regions. Wajayo nole is an accountant in a bank, he's in Ernst & Young, he's wherever. Gamba abaana twatandika okubeegombesa bwegombese mbeera. Aye nga bwe tubeegombesa, Bano abali kumalanga ne bavaamu omulala ku babiri ne causing the problem of impregnating these people nga tuba arresting. That's what we would now use the other structure. Kubanga waba waliwo omuntu w'okukyalo okwo, waba waliwo omuntu in that parish, we arrest and follow up because parents are always easily compromised and even threatened. Wabanga ono omuntu ali kufollowing omusango ogwo ti wa mu family eyo, muntu wa ku kyalo, ate bamuyidi nti mutongole wa Kyabazinga, bamuyidi nti wa muka wa Kyabazinga, and he also has support. Ndowooza nti that way we would be having a second leg eyinza okutuyambako. Ekindi nikire Dr. Kadama kye akava okwogerako, tufune interventions edengeri gye tusobola okwogera ne families edindi dirina nibu resources bwe tusobola okubayamba okureactivate nga bw'atandika obawangasa amma naye nga tibayidi bambi nga balambayire ku those resources. So it is the issue of the governance gyenenza okuleeta. Naenda kuleta issue ya to leveraging those small civil society organizations nga they are not NGOs per se, but they are well wishers, bali kuendeza ebyalo byaibwe okugaiga walobo okusoma obo okukulaakulana. Those will do a lot of work also. Begaite to this intervention so far done by the NGOs and other organizations. I will stop there. I can write other organized things and send them later. Yeah, chenenze cho contributing. Thanks, moderator.
Thank you so much, James Chintu, for that submission. And I would kindly request that you make that right up, or you can follow up and receive it. I request right now, before I go to Emily, to have Ayeva Redafin to make her comment. Then we can dive into more questions and then responses. Dafin.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tatumwa, and everyone who has spoken before me. I think a lot of points have already been mentioned. I'll just add on a little, but what stood out for me so far from what has been spoken is the point made by Ambassador Kalibala, consolidating effort. And I think this is very key. I totally agree. Yeah, because we are very many actors and we are all fighting, like we are all in this fight against teenage pregnancy, but I think we can do better together. And just in November, we instituted Nagulu Youth Network, instituted Busoga Adolescent Health Forum. And the essence was that different actors in promoting adolescent health come together and come up with strategies on how they can scale up their impact in Busoga as regards adolescent health. So I think consolidating efforts, even as we talk about teenage pregnancy, is one of the things that we need to look at. Just another point, I think we need to also think about making parents the center of this fight. And this is almost related to the point made by Dr. Joyce Abaliwano, because in our work in Bugembe with teen moms, what we've realized is that as we are trying to rehabilitate these girls who have gotten pregnant, we are trying to prepare them for childbirth and inspire them to pick up their dreams and go back to school. We realize that sometimes the parents are pulling them in the opposite direction. And what do I mean? Some of the girls we've worked with, we've had their parents arrange for the boy who impregnated them or who impregnated the girl to come and take her up for marriage. And for them, it's just normal, you know? And they don't see any future beyond this girl's childbirth. Like if the girl gives birth, they feel there's no future ahead. So this girl just should settle for marriage. And that is a very big problem. Yeah, so I think that as we plan on how to fight teenage pregnancy, we need to make parents the center of this. What we do with the Zoe Girls Health Initiative, when we enroll a girl in the Teen Moms Club, we also start working alongside with their parents, and we work with the girl for 1 year together with their parents, because we are talking to them and encouraging them to take the girls back to school. So we need also to let the parents be engaged in this whole process that we are taking their girls through. Yeah, and that also takes us back to communities. I don't know, some communities where I grew up from, they used to have, I think, sort of like community meetings. I don't remember how they were called, but like the LOC one would gather a particular group, either fathers or whatever, and then either they're talking about security or health. So I think that we can have such kind of meetings in our communities where we have an opportunity to directly sensitize these parents and families on the dangers of teenage pregnancy, because it looks like most of them don't actually know. Other point is keeping girls in school, and this has already been said as well, at any cost. And then we ensure that while the girls are in school, they have an opportunity to get information related to their reproductive health, correct and factual information, so that they are empowered to make informed decisions. For me, I am so passionate about taking teen moms back to school, because I know that there are two types of teenage pregnant victims. There is this first-time victim, this girl who gets pregnant and then she drops out of school. Then there is a second-time victim. This girl gets pregnant, gives birth, and then 6 months or 9 months down the road, she's pregnant again. So I believe that if these girls who get pregnant are helped to go through childbirth safely, and then they're inspired to go back to school, then the chances of them getting the second pregnancy will be reduced as compared to girls who get pregnant, give birth, and stay in the community, and then a few months down the road, they're pregnant again. So I think we need to work towards ensuring that these girls who get pregnant actually get an opportunity to go back to school. And I've also encountered girls who say, I don't want to go back to school, I want to get a skill. So if we can also avail opportunities for such girls, it will also help them to be busy, but also to break the poverty cycle. I think my last point would be actually on championing teenage pregnancy prevention messages in school. If we could identify these girls who have been victims of teenage pregnancy, we walk a journey with them, raise their self-esteem, and take them back to school. These same girls can be champions in their respective schools. We have one of our girls who went back to school. She's in senior 3, and she's telling other girls, sharing her lived experience with other girls in school, and telling them how difficult it is to be a mother and a student, how it was difficult for her to go through the 9 months and childbirth. And we've always been also inviting her when we have sessions with other girls in the communities. And we've really seen that her testimony and sharing her experience creates more impact than me, who has never been a teen mom, going to schools and talking to girls about teenage pregnancy. So if we can identify these girls who have been victims and they have gone back to school, we can make them champions or ambassadors of prevention messages in their respective schools. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Tatum, I would like to end with we need to think about developing a model that addresses the different areas that we've talked about. Like if we are talking about prevention, let's come up with a model that we are all different organizations can work towards that model. Like prevention, what is our strategy for schools? What is our strategy for family? What is our strategy for parents whose girls were victims of teenage pregnancy? And then how do you rehabilitate those ones who have gotten pregnant? How do we ensure that they are back on their feet and are in school? Thank you so much.
Oh. Thank you so much, Daphne, for that submission. I have a question that anyone who's going to talk may answer me. What are some of the layers that can be given that these girls can use? Because the fact is, these girls are also eager for sex and they are looking for sex. With that, before I pick the hands, I want to have Fande James Movie is one of the senior police officers in this region. Are you arresting these people, or what's not being done? Afande James Movie. It's all right. He has made a comment. Let me have Emily make a comment.
All right, thank you so much, the moderator and everyone who is here. It's always interesting to listen to talks like this, and you feel like you're part of the group that could help and give solutions. I'm a student of public health leadership at Uganda Christian University, and these are some of the things that we really talk about every now and then. So I've listened to quite a number of speakers. I've listened to Chintu James, I've listened to Doreen, though my network was on and off. But honestly speaking, this is something that is challenging and we have to work on it, but we cannot just wake up in one day and work on it. programs have been put in place to fight teenage pregnancy. People have been on ground to try to fight teenage pregnancy, though not really many. And organizations have tried to support, but it's not we are not seeing a change according to what we would want. But I think I would love to say that we need to be patient as community members, as Ugandans. It's not only in Busoga. You may see it as being said in Busoga, but it's almost everywhere in Uganda. But then I was actually talking to my colleague, and I told her that we could say that the girl child has not been educated, or the girl child has been educated but doesn't know that the education is very important. For example, I was talking to her that I may know Kadaga, for example. She's from Busogaland. Sorry to use personalities here, but I think it is also okay. But there may be some child, girl child in Busoga, who doesn't know who Kadaga is and what it takes for someone to be like Honorable Kadaga. But I think it would be very good, because I'm from Western Uganda, to be honest. There are many Busoga people I have met out there, and they are making it in life and in all different sectors of life. You know, we have to break this chain of people saying that it is, Busoga, they are backward. I'm just an open-minded person. Are backward, or they are taking long to change. They are actually very bright people, and it needs us, the people, to go back on ground and really show up. Because if we keep talking about change of the whole plan and advocacy, but we are not going back to the ground, to the deep villages, to help these children. Because who gets pregnant? Is it the Busoga girl who is in Kampala, or the Busoga girl who is in the village? Because these educated and Busoga who have made it, they don't want to go back to the grounds, to their deep roots in the villages. Mr. Chintu was talking about organizations, and well, I could hear from him. He sounds someone who is really, out there, and a very good person, but we need to go back to the grounds and help these people. And also, like the traditional thing that a person who talked before Chintu said, it was helping, just like in the Western culture, in Western Uganda, where a pregnant girl would be thrown, Southwestern Uganda, in Kigezi region, would be thrown on the cliff. We are no longer thrown on the cliffs. But the fact that I've always heard about it, I cannot just wake up and get pregnant. No, I'm scared. I feel like I may fall a culprit of that. Maybe somehow, somewhere, those culture names are not good, because what if someone is raped and then you make them get punished like that? It would, be a punishment that is not worth it. But then I believe that there are some girls who don't really mind, plus the boys who,
you could summarize it a bit.
Okay, who like really don't care, and they take it for granted. And also, another thing I would like to tell the people here is, the girls don't make themselves pregnant. It's the male gender. It's the boys and the men. And one thing I know is to protect the lion from the goat from the lion, is to teach the lion that the goat also deserves a life. So we need to really talk to the men, the border guys that they're talking about, that a girl child getting educated could be very important to the society, and also to you as a person, because she could employ you in future. She could be better and help your society to grow. There is a lot we could say, but I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emily, for that submission. Members, we should really care about the men. We should also give them information, because if they spoil our girls, your sons will not have girls to marry. We should think about that. Let me have Joash Kiza. Kiza, okay. Kasibante Samara.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, you're clear.
Yes, thank you so much. I think we need to go beyond the statistics. I think the first presenters did a good job on that. But this year, 2 newspapers really reported about this this teenage pregnancy, and they reported that the rate is at 34%. That's quite high. But my point is on the solution. I think the deterrence is mild. I think we are here, but we all know that if the deterrence to do something is small and there are no repercussions, people are at will. I mean, they're at liberty to keep doing this. Therefore, we need to design ways of making this is not public health now, but I think this is I even don't know what to call it. Because look, if a man impregnates a girl, goes scot-free, escapes to the next village, impregnates another one, we just look on. This habit will continue because the repercussions of the cost is very low. So we need to speak about how to make it quite expensive for a man or with whatever age to impregnate a girl. I think there is a lot in law, but there is also a lot communities can do, and especially churches and other gatherings where we need to hammer it hard that the cost should be made higher for any boy or for any boy who impregnates a young girl. But there was a study I was doing, and I was analyzing that and realized that Mayuge, most of these teenage girls, majority of them come from Mayuge. In as much as there's a study I read and they associated this to being rural, girls in the rural areas are prone to being to teenage pregnancy compared to those in the urban areas. But this Mayuge here, I think we need to also do some mapping so that we design interventions that are customized to the areas which are hotspots. Thank you so much, my brother, for the opportunity.
Great. Thank you so much, Kasivante Samuel, for that. Joash, Kiza, can you make a submission before I get to Dr. Joyce? Okay, seems you're not here again. Dr. Joyce, you're here. You could make a submission and then we have a round or to have more solutions.
Thank you very much. I think you were asking me why we're having so many young people start sex very early. I want to use some of my personal experiences. Growing up as a girl child, one, there was a lot of community involvement in my upbringing. If I moved out, I grew up in a community where there were in the house where we stayed, there were 2 gates because my father thought that you have to put 2 gates to make sure that these girls don't move out of this place. But indeed, we did move out. But for even before you made a kilometer from home, 5, 6, 7 people were asking, Joyce, where are you going? Does mommy know that you're out? Joyce, where are you going? Does mommy know that you're out? You know, till you get where you're going and you come back. So there's a lot of community involvement in my upbringing. I don't seem to see that these days. A mature person can find a boda guy standing with a girl in uniform, and they'll just pass, and it's none of their business. So I keep wondering, where did that aspect go? The other thing is the issue of role modeling. Many of our children come from villages where there are no role models. The role models they have are the boda people, they are the drivers of trucks of sugarcane. They are really people who have not gone to school, but somehow have made it. And as long as we who are in Kampala don't fuel our cars and go to these villages and go to these schools and go to these communities and talk to these young girls about the role of education, why it is important to stay in school, why it is important to dream big, why it is important to not look at where you are standing and think that is your destiny. Until we do that, we are still going to have very many young people get pregnant. The other thing is I had a lot of support from my brothers. And this is something that we should teach the boy child, to support the girl child and not look at them as prey, as food, as, you know, the boy child should support the girl child, most especially during menstruation. In Chigango, there's something we do. We do reusable sanitary towels. And we sit with the boys and teach them how to make the reusable sanitary towels. And as we make these sanitary towels, we talk to them on how they need to support the girl child. We talk to them, how would they feel if their sister dropped out of school? How would they feel if their father did not provide sanitary towels? And we have a conversation. And by the time we are through with the retreat, you really see that there is a lot of support of the boy child to the girls in the retreat. The other thing is the regulation of the media. I grew up in the era where we only had UBC, and UBC was really regulated. But here we have, I don't know how many televisions, then social media, the Facebooks of this world, the TikToks of this world. Everything is trying to show that it is good to have sex. And no one is restricting. We have commercialized sex in the music, in the dance, in the drama. You go in the theaters, people are talking about sex. In the dance halls, the music we are listening to, we are talking about quick picture and all that. And all of that is affecting the mindset of this young girl, and is affecting the young mindset of this young boy. It is tuning them into sex because we don't have regulation of the media. Everything goes irrespective of what age we are showing this information to.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Joyce. Now, as we are trying to have the last round of this discussion, I've just picked something interesting from your submission. You've acknowledged that that in this era, children are so much exposed to information about sex through music, drama, and everything, and social media. I want to have a few members to respond to this. Now that the exposure is there, what can we do as interventions to make sure that these children are delayed to engage into the sex, but also mitigate them from these predisposing factors? Start with the ambassador to give us her submission.
Thank you very much. Listen to all the good ideas, colleagues, and I want to thank them very much, especially Dr. Abaliwan, who has talked about the new era where information is everywhere and we can't control it. And my take is that as Busoga Health Forum and plus all these other small NGOs that form what we are today, it's very difficult for us to control such. I think that would have to come from the national intervention, because if the Ministry of Education comes out and the Ministry of Information and the Technology comes out and they do something at the national level, that is the only way we can say that we don't get mingled with this kind of information. You go somewhere in every society on parties and you find teenagers, they have just finished PLE and they are talking on television. They see them on social media, they see them in movies and so on and so forth. And how to deter this kind of information. I think us small NGOs and CBOs and groups will have nothing to do in controlling this information. Nevertheless, it shouldn't stop us from talking about it. We need to continue talking to our parents, especially because it is these parents who give the children the mobile phones. It is these parents who buy televisions and they don't put in the parental, there's something they call parental what, where children cannot watch bad movies. It is these parents who continue taking their children to bad movies. The parents, in my opinion, have the biggest role to play in ensuring that our children get the right information to enable them not to get involved in sex. When you go to the rural areas where we normally go as a Busoga Education Initiative, you will not find a parent sort of lamenting that the child has got pregnant. I always go down there and the parents come very excited. Mama katukulage kuba idukulu. And then the badukulu they are showing you are from girls who are 12, 13, 14. And to them, they feel that it is an addition in their family and it is a pleasure that their children are not being looked at as barren. And then you keep saying, what is wrong with us parents? May I want to appeal to all of us who are on this platform, on this meeting, that the first thing we should do is to ensure that the parents instill the right information and the right discipline in our children. When we were growing up, our parents were always very strict. They would always ensure that we don't do the wrong things. And I think I heard Dr. Abaluan talking about it and even saying that the communities would get involved. These days, the parents are the ones who take the girls out on a beach, leave them there with boys, and then they think that the girls are not going to get mingled with these bad manners. Let us go back to what we used to be before and ensure that we try and discipline our children and have this kind of which we used to have before, that if a girl when she's not yet married, it looks like it is a taboo. I think once we do that, then the children will start fearing. But if the parents are not caring and they are the ones
Okay, I think it's a network issue for the ambassador, but what I'm picking here, I think the team which is taking this note, I think we should emphasize that our Kyabazinga and Inevan should bring it clear that omwana wafunira olubuto waka ngoba akaali kwetu ng'akaali kukula kyakive era bawe nga abolebwa. I think that information would really, if it echoes in a girl's ear, she will at least think twice.
Hello? I can't hear anybody.
We can hear you, please. Okay, we can hear you, but Kiza, your hand has been up and I'm trying to call on you to give your submission and you're not speaking. Are you able to speak now, Kiza?
Yes, please.
Kindly do.
Thank you so much for all what you've submitted. My emphasis is also going to the parents. You know, these parents at times, they don't know what to do. They don't know even what to tell those children which they are having. Even those other caretakers. A child may be there, but she might have lost a parent. But it's the responsibility of the caretaker to counsel that teenager. We should use radios, televisions, and teach those parents and caretakers about the following. Let the parent be clear about your own sexual values and attitudes. It's easy to talk to your child like asking, how do you feel about school-aged teens? Being sexually active, becoming a parent when you are still a student, and therefore you must abstain. Another point is talk to your children early and often about sex and love. Be specific, be open, listen carefully as you are explaining to the child. Listen to what the child is telling you as you explain. Hearing from him or her. Be approachable. A parent who is not approachable too can lead to those unwanted pregnancies. Be approachable. Let the child feel comfortable to ask you any question, like, how do you know that I've fallen in love with somebody? Another one is supervise and monitor your child's activities. Know where your children are at all times. Are they safe? What are they doing? Are they involved in useful activities? If not with you, is there any responsible adult supervising them? Help them understand that the parent who cares, no, it is her responsibility to care about the child, but not just denying them their freedom of movement. There is also know your children's friends and their families. Since peers have a strong influence on teens, do your best to help the children. Choose friends from families with similar values. Welcome your children's friends into your home and talk with them regularly. Talk with their parents about curfew hours, common rules, and the expectations, the outcomes of moving up and down very late. Discourage early and frequent and steady dating. Encourage group activities. Discourage dating since he or she is still a child who needs to achieve a goal in the future. Help the teenager to have options for the future that are much attractive, that are pregnancy and parenthood. Help them set meaningful goals for their future. Talking about expenses of being pregnant and end up failing to reach university levels, hence failing to achieve your goal on time. Emphasize how much you value education. Set high expectations for your child's school performance. If the performance is not progressing well in school, intervene early, as school failure is one of the key risk factors for teen parenthood. Keep track of your child's grades and meet with their teachers. Allow more time for homework and reduce on other home activities so that that teenager can have enough time to do the homework and improve on the grades, thereby reducing on teen parenthood. Know what your kids are watching. Know what they are reading. Know what they are listening to. Messages about sex sent by media, internet are risky. Teach your children to think critically. Talk with them about what they are learning from the programs they watch and the music they listen to. Don't allow televisions in your children's bedrooms. You will probably not be able to fully control what your children see and hear, but you are in control of whatever happens in your home. Be clear about movies, records, and videos which are acceptable at home. Strive for a relationship that is warm and affectionate, firm in discipline and rich in communication. Emphasize mutual trust and respect. Express your love, affection, and appreciation clearly and often. You can even hug your kids and tell them how much you love them every day. Listen carefully to what your children say. Pay attention to what they do. Spend fun, pleasant time with your children daily if possible. This is the foundation for your relationship with the children. Be kind to your children and let them know you expect the same in return. Don't compare one child against another. Let each child know he or she is one of the kind and priceless. Try to have at least one family meal together with them. Use the time together to talk, not to argue. So that is some of my submission. It is all about the parent to know what is supposed to do with the children, but it is our responsibility to teach those parents and the other caretaker, because some of them, even they don't know what to do with those children at home. Thank you very much. Thank you for this.
This is very insightful, Mr. Kiza. I think we need to prepare a presentation on parenthood and invite parents, and then you become a speaker. That would be very nice. Anyway, as we come to the end of this session, kindly, I have I'm moderating kindly. Okay. Thank
yes.
you. I was we.
Okay. I failed to raise up, but I had something small to speak about. I just joined because of internet problems. I don't know if I can be given a minute to speak something.
Kindly do it in a minute.
Okay, thank you so much. Sise Tabingwa is my name. I'm a clinical psychologist. I appreciate all the submissions, the brilliant ideas about the topic. They are really, really relevant. But we are at the primary prevention as far as I've had, which is okay. But the packaging, the previous speaker, the speech from that previous speaker about the parenting, all that can be packaged and be done on radio talk shows or medias to send the information to the parents in these villages, like twice a week. It should be continuous, not once a month, because there it is not. Consistency is very, very important. When people know that this program will be available like twice a week, they'll be there to listen. So I would recommend radio talk shows and other medias where these parents can reach this information. The practical bits, because really there are some ideal information which is very good, but not applicable in our local settings. But I would like to go the practical way. Role modeling. Before then, I studied from Iganga, but these other prominent people used to come and visit our schools. And maybe if someone from our school has graduated, they come back to the school maybe to tell us about the future, like the importance of education. I would really be motivated and look at these people as I want to reach up there. So 5 to 7 kids, like among the 10, are motivated by these role models who go back to their school. So this should be encouraged much, whereby OBs and OGs form forums to go back to those schools. Really, these children need role models, practical examples. They have to know the pitfalls up front. They have to get a roadmap of where they are going, because most of them get lost on the way because they don't know what to expect. So role modeling, visitation to schools, like going to schools, some making programs to visit those schools. Even the prominent people like MPs, people who have made it in life. The doctors, you can go to a random school and visit and tell these children something. 1 or 2 children will get some information from your visitation or your speech there. My other submission will come back to the schools where these children are taken, because you find that some teachers are impregnating these children, and children are spending like 70 to 80% of their time at school. So fine parents can do much, but these teachers also. So it comes back to the national policy. How can we integrate the policies upon these perpetrators in these schools, our local schools, and helping children know where to report in case they're victimized. So another thing is how to do reinforcements and punishments. It should be integrated in the radio talk shows. How do we punish these children? Because they feel they're not loved, they will run to this boy who is lying to them. I love you, I love you, I love you. So how do we reinforce them? Oh, today you went to school. I'm monitoring them. What have you learned today? Even if a parent has never gone to school, at least show some small monitoring. So that should be integrated in the radio talk shows. Whoever is going to do the radio talk show we should integrate this. The punishments, how do these parents punish these children? How do they motivate them? So, and some other thing, how do we ensure school retention? Because a school is a protective factor to these children. When they're out there, they are taken over by anything. So how do we ensure school retention? These strict policies whereby if we find a child loitering around the village when it's school time, whereby the children are engaging in sugarcane cutting because they need to get some small money, where do we go? Who is responsible? So these local LC ones and the people concerned should be really on ground to see whose child is not going to school and why. So it should be really be considered to ensure that children are going to school and they are retained. This term, as the child of so and so going to school, why aren't they at school? So these strict policies, but corruption is limiting us, because a parent would go to the LC1 and give in a 5K and be like, leave the child to go and cut sugarcane because we don't have sugar. But I wish everyone be honest. It should be like a personal responsibility to everyone. I'm about to summarize.
Okay, please summarize.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much, moderator.
Thank you so much, Daphne. And I'll not take up another person for this. And I promise we are going to continue having such dialogues, and we find way of raising awareness and coming up with interventions to reduce teenage pregnancy in this region. As all our panelists who have been here, I request that you have 1 minute to say one last word to the audience, and then we one last word, and that last word you're going to give us, tell us a practical intervention that you think will reduce teenage pregnancy. I'll begin with Mukal Mohammed.
Yeah, thank you so much. Mukal Mohammed is my name. I insist the problem
Maybe your network is not stable.
By Busoga. Every person knows what to do and how to do it. I feel the problem is in the air. Then lastly, I'll put it in the group chat. I'll put in the chat if you can't hear me. But
thank you so much, Mehdi. You can put that in the group chat. I request we have Daphne give us that practical solution to end teenage pregnancy as you say bye-bye. Daphne.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Tatuma and everyone. I would like to say that I think if whatever we've discussed here is put down and actually put into action, I think we are surely going to be able to fight a good fight when it comes to teenage pregnancy prevention. And for me, I think what I've picked out of this session is that parents are at the center of this fight. And the points have been shared. And those of you who have worked with teen moms, you know that when you take their history, most of them, their parents have actually also been teen moms, or their parents are promiscuous, so they feel they have no moral authority to counsel their girls or even talk to them about abstinence. But I know that we can empower them, and we now know what to do in our communities. Again, thank you so much. I think that's all I can say for now. Good night. Thank you.
Dr. Joyce, Ariwano, you can give us that last comment.
My last comment is that we should encourage male engagement in this fight. We should bring on board as many boys, as many fathers, as many uncles, as many the male gender into this fight. because until the male gender understands that this is not a fight for only the family, but it is a fight for the whole nation, and where we want our nation to go. Unless they understand it, then they will not stop perpetrating some of these issues. So we need to bring on board as many males as possible to join this fight. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce. I'll request to have Wikitiwa Agnes, Ambassador, to give us the last comment. Then we have Professor Peter to give certificates to participants.
Thank you very much, moderator. My network is very poor. I don't know whether my last submission was heard, but nevertheless, my last comment is that, like I said in the beginning, we need concerted effort where we are all coordinated together, because we are fragmented and yet we all have very good ideas. I've been listening and I could see so many rich ideas that have been tabled this evening. If only we could come together and be able to push this, because like they say, I'm sure would be able to penetrate. And also the other thing is to see that the parents are at the center of our efforts. The parents should talk to both the girls and the boys to ensure that they have responsibility. And finally, also the government, because some of this information we are talking about, which is flowing everywhere on television, on networks, on social media, can really be controlled if government came up strongly. But because it is relaxed in as far as this information is concerned, our children are now exposed to some information which we cannot be able to control because we don't have the means. So I believe if we work together as a group, as a nation, and also use the chance that we have in Event now. In Event, I'm sure she's now everybody's darling, would be able to push this and coordinate as well. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. I can now request Professor Peter to give a few closing remarks, then also give certificates to panelists. Professor Peter. Oh, okay. I think he's not able, but to our panelists who have been on this panel today, I thank you so much for being able to make some time and be part of this open dialogue. And to Ambassador Agnes Karibara, kindly receive this appreciation from the board chair of Busoga Youth Forum, Professor Peter, for preparing and making a presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate.
Dr. Weiss here. I've been listening, and
Yes.
but I lost my voice. But I'm so excited about what is going on, what you've discussed. I think let us build on this and have more discussions, and then later we move them into the communities in real life. And the collective Joyce, everyone, we are here to work together with you, Shira, Dr. Bayeko and others. I think it is the most sector approach. We have in Event too. I think we need to strategize how to use the opportunity. We have Kyabazinga. It's a full house. If we don't get it this time around, I think then it will be a lost opportunity. So, of course, I thank all of you are doing stuff in the field, in the hardware. We need to bring more people on board and definitely bring committee leaders and the institution is on board. Ayenga twebaza ino mwebale ino. Ndowooza this thing is being documented. Simon ni Kalim Mike documenting tudafuna mwevamu then tubone bwetujja mu maiso. But I think this is an agenda where omukulu Kyabazinga ni Mukaire ine bantu really should move almost to every corner of Busoga with this agenda. Kubanga, if they don't lead it, we shall lose Busoga. Busoga has several problems apart from ignorance. We have teenage pregnancy, we have sickle cell. Those things are eating us and must be addressed heads on. From me, thank you so much for accepting to come at short notice. But I think this is going to be the agenda and the key focus of Soga's forum from today and on. So, you know, we shall be back and we shall have more ideas. Manamana Mendeza's Christmas Enonji. I don't know whether Benjamin was able to do some certificates. If
Yes,
not, we
Professor, they're on
shall.
screen. They are on screen already.
They're on the screen. So members received those certificates. Ambassador Agnes Kalibala, Dr. Valieku, Dr. Joyce Avaliwano, Mukalu Muhammad Mtawani Wange, and my adopted daughter Daphne, very proud of you. And Benjamin, you deserve one yourself. Thank you so much. And the future at Busoga, let us have a good Busoga. By the way, Jamtaidi Plus, we are doing an initiative back in our village, Naigovia, to change the village, but we are building on a model of mass sector approach, and the elites must come down to the ground. So as we do it at the level of Busoga, we're also going local. Thank you, and goodbye, good night, have a blessed Christmas and Happy New Year. May Busoga thrive. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye too. Bye, Prof.